Nothing challenged on my definitely.
That's right. We'll have
A Tufts in Medford, and then
It's called the news, and relentlessly it throbs, pulses, and flows like blood rushing through the veins of a reporter on a beat.
Okay, let's do it.
Natalie, Jacobson, and Chet Curtis.
Good evening. Senate candidates John Kerry and Ray Shammy have a little over 12 hours to make their final pitch to the voters of Massachusetts.
Today was the last full day of campaigning in this Senate race.
The heart of the news is the anchor team. At News Center 5, it's Chet Curtis and Natalie Jacobson.
One of the great things I love about my job is the teamwork. I really do. I love going out. I guess my first love is really going out on a story with a cameraman. The other part of the teamwork that's terrific is, and very difficult, I think more difficult, is the teamwork that takes place right in the newsroom itself. The producer of the show who's going crazy trying to put 75 factors together, the assignment desk editor who maybe at the last minute has realized he just missed something important, or he can't get a crew back from New Hampshire in time to get to Copley Square to get a live shot. It's nuts. It's a craziness, and you have emotions at their very peak. You have 50 people in a room with adrenaline flowing, and our being part of that teamwork and making it work is a terrific high. You have to have this burning desire to tell other people about what's going on. You have to have a fierce belief in the old saw that an educated society is the best defense against tyranny. And I do believe that, and knowing how powerful, inordinately, and I think sadly, so powerful this medium is, I like to think that by pounding it out every day, by working hard, by being uncompromising when it comes to facts, and the kinds of stories that we want to tell the people, that we make a contribution in that regard. It's important to me. I think what we do is very important. We don't always do it as well as I would hope we would. But overall, I think our impact is a positive one, I hope, in news.
Despite the latest polls that show John Kerry in the lead, Republican Senate
For the better part of 14 years, at News Center 5, they've gathered news for headlines and headlines for history in a chronicle of human events.
Back in New York City, when I worked for WCBS, some of the interesting things that I was able to work on, I had the good fortune to work on, were the visit of Nikita Khrushchev to New York and the summit meeting with President Johnson at Glassboro State Teachers College in Pennsylvania, and spending 4 or 5 days tailing Khrushchev around and being at that historic meeting. Also in New York, I was in Newark, while working in New York, I was in Newark, New Jersey for the start of the Newark riots, the urban rebellions as they have come to be known, and Newark was one of the first places where that happened. It was frightening and at the same time, you know, exciting to be covering it as a reporter. Here in Boston, I think perhaps the most memorable thing that Natalie and I were involved with was the visit of Queen Elizabeth. We were on the air for, I don't know, 8 or 10 hours, providing live coverage. The school busing controversy in Boston was an exciting and a very important story to work on. I really can't, I don't think, pick one out of the air and say that was it. There were just so many.
This is News Center 5 at 6 with Jack Hines, Natalie Jacobson, and Chet Curtis, meteorologist Dick Albert, and Don Gillis on sports.
Good evening. Jack is off tonight.
The Boston Symphony Orchestra under the direction of Seiji Ozawa. Good evening and welcome to the 9th annual BSO Marathon, brought to you live on WCBB-TV, our 3rd year doing this. I'm Chet Curtis.
And I'm Natalie Jacobson Curtis.
Live from the John F. Kennedy Library, a special edition of News Center 5 at 6. Reporting from our anchor desk, Chet Curtis and Natalie Jacobson.
Good evening. For many of us, it seems hard to believe, impossible almost, but it has been 20 years to the day since John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was cut down by assassins' bullets in Dallas.
Chet and Nat, what is the initial reaction to the debate out there tonight? Both sides are very happy tonight. We're going to talk to people from both sides.
We'll hear the reaction from
In an
the professionals
information
and some analysis
age
by the
dominated
pros.
by
We'll be going
electronic
back to
media,
Boston.
what's
Some
the
analysis
biggest
from,
story to
voters.
break
First
for
of all,
Chet and Nat?
The little kids are so smart and so loving. They give you so much back. It's just, you know, for a person in my business, I should be able to articulate this a lot better. All I can tell you is it's everything.
As much as the job means, the success it confers, and the blessings of a child, Nat and Chet have the rare and dignified love of two people who care for and respect each other.
I love my job, and I know it's not a 9 to 5 job or a 3 to midnight job, and it's not a Monday through Friday job. But there comes a time when you have to say enough. The job is important to me, but it's not more important than my wife and my 3 daughters.
I think it's a healthy respect for each other as people and as professionals. You know, I respect Chet professionally. He's a top drawer newsman. So that's easy in terms of working with him and respecting somebody whose credentials and abilities and day-to-day work you can respect. And then as a person, I obviously respect him. Not to say that we don't have our differences of opinion professionally and personally, we do, but we're pretty open most of the time about that, which is
Communication is the key, I think. I really couldn't add to what Natalie said or embellish that in any way. I think the relationship is, but I'll try. The relationship is based on a mutual respect, both a personal one and a professional one. And we do have our disagreements. When we do, we've made a promise to ourselves at the beginning of the relationship that we'd always communicate and that we would never let things sit there and keep boiling underneath without talking about it and working it out. I mean, we both believe, and Natalie even to a much greater extent than I do, that there isn't a problem in the world that you can't fix by talking about it.
except for one. Chet snores.
Oh, gosh, they are such special people.
They're terrific.
It's been lovely getting to know, personally, all of the people in the newsroom this week, and I thank them for their cooperation.
And we liked you, too.
Thanks.
Come back anytime.
Thanks. Don't call me, I'll call you.